All right, what's up, boys? We're battling it today. Woke up not feeling good at all. I apologize if my voice sounds like shit today. But yeah, we got coming off. NBA Finals isn't over yet. We thought it would be. Heat snuck one out in Game 3. Um, let's see what else is going on. Baseball, pretty interesting so far through the first set of playoff games. I know Keenan's got a little bit. He wants to bitch because he can't. He doesn't like nice things.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
see. NFL still going strong. My MVP pick has already shit the bed the last 2 weeks, so I just wasted more money on that. Uh,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say they're going strong. There are some question marks at this point.
yeah, that is true. The Tennessee Titans have completely fucked the entire league.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll get into that. But yeah, so I mean, I know Keenan. He said he's a little soy boy. He's a little sad this morning, so he wants to discuss some things. So the floor
Uh,
is yours.
all right. So let's. I got a lot to bitch about this week, guys. Let's start with baseball. Beginning of the season, what was my World Series prediction? I told you Dodgers versus Rays. I still think that's going to happen. I think, obviously, we've discussed it. I'm a Yankees fan, right? The wild card series last week, they look great, right? Cole goes out there, wins it. They had that sketchy game two where LeMahieu wins it in the ninth. Awesome. Game one in the ALDS, things are great, right? I mean, Stanton's hitting 450-foot jacks. Cole throws a nice game. Yankees win by 6. It was like, oh man, this is great. Game two comes out, and it's like, all right, well, you throw this 21-year-old kid, Davy Garcia, and you throw him for an inning. Why? Why would you throw? What the hell's the point in throwing him for an inning? 3 outs is all the kid got. That's all he got. He gets three outs, and then they throw J.A. Happ out there. The guy, you get my 72-year-old grandmother out with a fastball, let alone any of the players in the Rays. The guy goes out there, basically loses the game by the third inning. The guy he was traded for from Toronto for the sole purpose of beating the Red Sox. That was the only reason he was gotten from Toronto. Since he was received from Toronto, Boston has traded away to like their whole future. Like they have nobody. There is no reason for J.A. Happ to be there. Uh, I, it blows my mind. So he goes out there, gives up like 5 runs, game's over. Last night, oh my. Let me tell you some bitches about last night. All right. First inning, whatever, home run, whatever. And then who ties it up? Someone ties it up with a home run. I don't even know. Anyway, game's 1-0 or 1-0 going into like the third. Third inning, bases loaded, like 2 outs. 3-0 pitch, a ball like that is a mile out of the strike zone, strike one. It's like, okay,
Got to
whatever.
swing, bro.
I The next pitch is like so far out of the damn zone. I It baffles my mind to even think about it. Strike two. So obviously 3-2 pitch comes up. Voit grounds out on a 5-0 pitch, grounds it out to short, no runs scored. Bottom of the third. Now this is where I almost blew a fucking gasket last night. So like runner on first, Willie Adames at the plate. It's like a 3-2 pitch. The same pitch that Voit got called a strike on, they call a ball, and it would have been a strike him out, throw him out, double play. Instead, the next pitch, Kiermaier sends it into like the fourth row at Petco, and it's 4-1. Like, dude.
See, you say bad umpiring. I say he learned from his mistake in the top of the inning, and he came
Oh,
back bottom
what?
inning and
Oh,
fixed
blow that smoke up someone else's ass.
it.
That umpire is incompetent, okay? Don't get me wrong. The Rays, great baseball team. I've talked about it for the last however many weeks we've been back, okay? The Rays this season was built for them, okay? The 60 game format, the opener style. They have a lot of journeymen, a lot of guys who grind out. They got a lot of grit on that team, right? This season was built for the Rays. I thought the Rays were the best team in the AL since before the season started. I believe in my preseason predictions before the shortened season. I said Dodgers Rays. That didn't change whenever the shortened season started. You can go back, check the file. I've got the receipts. I'll post the link later. Okay. I think the Rays are a great team. They've got great pitching. Charlie Morton, Blake Snell. Who's the other kid that I'm thinking of?
Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasnow. Yeah, Tyler Glasnow. All those are great pitchers. They got great pitchers in the bullpen. All right, the team is good. I'm not debating any of the talent on that team, but the fucking umpiring has to get better. Okay, has to get better.
I mean, every game. I didn't watch much of the Yankees game last night, but I did watch some of the Atlanta game, and then just every game I've watched really in the playoffs. Umpiring has been a huge issue.
It's been ass, dude. It's been ass, and it's hard to bitch, right? Because really, if you look at the Yankees offense, the only player that's been producing is Stan. He's hit a home run in every game here in the playoffs. He has 6 home runs total. The guy has been carrying his load. But if you look at Luke Voigt, he has been struggling in the playoffs. If you look at Aaron Judge, he really hasn't gotten it going. Gary Sanchez, I mean, they've been playing Higashioka in his place. Not only on the games Cole's been starting, but he started last night. DJ LeMahieu, he's like the only person on that team that can hit for average. Aaron Hicks hasn't been producing that well. Gleyber Torres has been a little quiet.
What about Brett Gardner?
I don't fucking get me started.
Best 5-hitter in baseball.
I will smack the shit out of you. But no, so I mean they've got a lot. They don't have much room to talk, right? The pitching, other than Garrett Cole, the starting pitching just has not been there this playoffs. Tanaka, prior to this postseason, had been great in the playoffs. I think he was carrying some 2.5 ERA. The guy had been known for producing in the playoffs. Last night goes out there, gives up 4. Just by the time he exited the game was essentially over, right? The game's like 8-2 in the 5th. At that point, it's a wrap. Severino's injured. Domingo Germán's suspended. James Paxton's injured. They've got a lot of injuries, but I mean, you pay this lineup $200 million, and they give you, the lineup is kind of designed to be slump proof, right? Well, it's not slump proof when 7 of the 9 hitters are slumping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the pitching. I mean, Garrett Cole. I mean, he's a great pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but the guy can't pitch every day. I mean, the Yankees. I think, in all honesty, I think their season ends tonight. I think the Rays wrap it up tonight. I think they're throwing an opener tonight. Their best games this year have been when they throw openers. I think they know they've got the Yankees on the ropes. If the Yankees somehow pull it off tonight, they've got I assume they got to throw Cole on 3 days rest tomorrow, right? I mean, they have to.
So, yeah.
They have to. They absolutely have to.
That's why you pay him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, has he ever been known to go off 3 days rest? I can't ever recall him doing that.
No.
He didn't do it.
When he was with Houston, they had Verlander and McCullers and
Greinke.
So, I mean, he didn't really have a need to go out there and throw on short rest.
3 days, yeah.
But now, looking at that rotation, if you want to win a game, you got to trust them.
But it's like, some pitchers just aren't built to go off 3 days rest, right? I mean, not everybody's Madison Bumgarner in 2014, where you can go out there and throw 5 innings in relief the day after throwing a complete game shutout. You can't. Not everybody's built like that. So my question is, if he goes out there and has to produce on 3 days rest tomorrow, can he do it? I mean, I don't know if he's shown that he can. He hasn't been asked to your credit. You know what I mean? But the problem is, I don't think they get him. I don't think they give him the opportunity tomorrow night. I think that Tampa Bay comes out and they just put the pedal to the metal tonight. I think that they come out. I mean, that their bullpen is great. And I mean, they're essentially going to throw a bullpen game tonight. And I would not surprise me at all if the 7th inning comes around and they're up 5-4 or they're up 6-4, something like that. Wouldn't be surprised if Blake Snell comes out, finishes an inning. Glasnow, if he comes out, gives you 1 or 2 outs at the end of an inning. Because I mean, do you think Snell throws on 3 days rest tomorrow night if they get there?
I don't know. I don't think he looked good enough in his first outing to where you could throw him out there 3 days.
That's certainly not with confidence,
No.
not with confidence.
Who Who? The Rays have two hard-throwing guys in their bullpen, and I can't think of. There's Castillo, right? He throws triple digits. They've got a lefty, and I can't think of his name. He throws a 101-mile-an-hour two-seamer, and I can't think of what his name is. Man,
Yeah, I'm having trouble.
I mean, if you're throwing those two guys out there, I mean, I trust them to get outs more than anybody, any bullpen, and except for maybe Oakland. If there's two bullpens I'm going to trust, it's those two.
Well, and it's like, yesterday, I mean, you pulled Tanaka, and I think it was like fourth, right? So at that point, you're relying on the bullpen to go the rest of the way. Chad Green goes out there. I think he gives up a couple runs. Jonathan Loaizaga. I mean, the guy's got no movement on his fastball. I mean, it pisses me off. And Ottavino, for as much praise as he gets, he just hasn't been on in the last few weeks. You know what I mean? The guy has trouble pitching to, I believe, right-handers. And, I mean, he wasn't used at all in the Cleveland series. I don't know if they would trust him in a big situation now. I mean, really, if you look at it, the Yankees, they've been using Britton and Chapman late in games. Ottavino really hasn't been the option. And so, tonight, I think I don't know who they're starting tonight. But they got to get outing. I mean, they can't rely on Cole to give them 8 shutout innings tomorrow. And I don't know. I just think the Rays wrap it up tonight. The Rays have been a superior team in every aspect to the Yankees of the whole season long. I think it's a wrap tonight. Other side of the AL bracket, Houston and Oakland. Hell of a game yesterday from Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy goes out there. I think he gave him 8 outs.
Something like that. Yeah, I think he
came in the 7th. I know.
Yeah.
I think it was an 8 out. Yeah, he finished the game. It was like an 8 out save.
I mean, that's what they needed because the rest of their pitching staff has not looked great. I mean,
Sean Mania didn't look great.
Did he start yesterday?
I think he did.
I can't remember who it was because I get them all jumbled. Because I mean, the A's are just giving up
run after run, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if you saw my Twitter. God damn it! I told you guys I'm struggling. My tweet yesterday. Obviously everybody knows about the Astros. Their whole scandal. Not even a scandal. They cheated. They won a World Series. It comes out before the season that they're going to be punished. And the punishment was nothing, right?
Yep.
And then the MLB decides, hey, we're going to extend the playoff format to 8 teams. So they get into the playoffs with like a 29-31 record in the regular season. Only team to make it with a sub-500 record.
Yep.
Well, that's all they need because then they can get hot at the right time.
Yep.
They sweep the Twins. They're up 2-0 on the A's. It's like, well, their punishment for completely ruining the game of baseball was getting a free spot into the playoffs because they play in the worst division in baseball.
Yeah.
And they have a chance to go out and win another World Series, and then they get to talk all this shit because, they said we couldn't win without cheating. It's like, well, you didn't really give us a reason not to believe that, you dumbass. Yeah. Carlos Correa has been on fire, and it pisses me off. Altuve, I think, hit a homer yesterday. That little dickhead, he pisses me off. And
it's interesting, right?
Victim.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't think anyone was doubting whether or not they had the talent to win a World Series. It's just everyone kind of acknowledged and condemned them for the fact that they used nefarious means to do so. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think, the 2017 title has I don't think it has any merit. I mean, if you look at their regular season stats, it's not even close. I mean, everyone's batting like 40 points lower. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I saw a tweet yesterday. I don't know who it is, and I want to give the person credit. But I saw a tweet yesterday that said the Astros are in a tough spot, right? Because if they act all innocent, then they can claim that they never cheated and all that stuff. But if they admit they cheated, then they basically admit that they're not legitimate World Series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like they have a legitimate World Series contending lineup. You know what I mean? Verlander's out. Yeah. I mean, Cole's out. Yeah. Greinke, he's kind of, But I mean that lineup could win a World Series, and if the Yankees do end up losing to the Rays in this series, I hope that the Astros make the World Series just because I want the Dodgers to beat shit down their leg. I want the Dodgers to get that. I don't know. I want them to get their desserts if the Yankees can't get it themselves.
Yeah. Which, speaking of the Dodgers, I guess to recap, A's win late last night. They were down like 7-4.
Yeah.
They hit a 3-run homer, tie it up, and then they ended up scoring 2 more. And I think they win at 9-7.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, they're playing San Diego out in the National League. San Diego has a really good roster as well, but their top 2 pitchers are out.
Yeah.
Clevenger thought he was going to be able to go. I was hoping he was going to be able to go because I think he would be their ace right away. He comes out, throws not even an inning and a third. I think he didn't get an out in the second. He leaves with an injury. He's pulled off the roster. He's out at least a week, which he was already hurt coming in, so I doubt they push him back out there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Their bats can try to get going, but, I mean, no matter what they do, the Dodgers just have that upper hand. I mean, we saw it last night. The Padres start making a comeback. Bellinger smacks a home run, and then Tatis comes back. He almost ties the game with a home run or takes the lead. I can't remember what the score was at the time. And Bellinger goes up and robs it in center field.
Yeah.
Incredible game from him. And then, I mean, Dodgers end up pulling away. They go up 2-0 in the series. There's not a team in baseball that's not more scary, dude. I'm telling you, I am struggling today. That is, I would be more worried about as a pitcher than the Dodgers. And I mean, that's been kind of the gimme all season is, well, yeah, you look at their lineup top to bottom, it's almost impossible to get through it. To get through an inning without a run, let alone an entire game. So,
yeah.
I mean, that team is loaded. Their pitching staff is good. I mean, you're throwing in Dustin May out of the bullpen. I mean, good luck. The kid's gonna come in. He's gonna spell Bueller and Kershaw. And he's gonna come out and throw 102 at you.
Yeah, I mean, people forget he was the opening day starter. You know what I mean?
And now he's your middle relief guy. He'll get you 9 outs in the middle of the ball game and put it away. I mean, heaven forbid the Dodgers their starter gives up 2 runs early and they got to go to their bullpen. Oh shit! Now you got Joe Kelly and Dustin May. I don't know who else they got out there. They got Kenley Jansen still. Like, dude, you're not beating that team. I don't care what you say. And no matter how good the Padres are, they're just going to be one step behind this Dodgers team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you build your team like that for. I mean, yeah, you're spending the money, but look what it's going to get you. You're going to run right for the National League.
Yeah.
I wish the Cubs would spend their money like that, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. And it's interesting you bring that up because baseball is such a game of inertia, right? I mean, once you get the momentum, it's really hard for that momentum to change, right? That's why you don't see too many comebacks. You know what I mean? And, I mean, you see it all the time in pitching, right? I mean, if you're down 3 runs, you're not putting your best guy in there, you know?
No.
You're putting, like, your 5th best reliever, you know? Whereas if you're up 3 runs, you put your closer in, you know what I mean? And that's why this umping shit has to get better. I mean, I was so frustrated watching that Yankees game last night. Just blood pressure through the roof, dude. And, I can accept if the Rays beat the Yankees, but just I want a fair chance. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as that 97 game.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter yesterday, there was a tweet had gone out showing a bunch of clips from, I think it was the 97 NLCS with the Braves and Marlins. And I mean, this ump wasn't even in the fucking ballpark, dude. You can throw that shit in the dugout. He's ringing it up. Oh, shit. It was so bad.
Yeah, like I said, like it's just the Rays are a great team, and I can accept that they lose to them. They've been the better team all year, but don't
take away the opportunity.
just if it's a ball, call it a ball. If it's a strike, call it a strike. And I can get it. Like if you're consistently calling like something just off the plate, a ball or a strike or whatever, like I can give that if you're consistent. But that shit last night, the should have been strike him out, throw him out that led to the 3-run homer, dude. That's just you got to be better. You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe I'm a little bit more passionate because it happened to the team that I like the most. But that's just God, man, you got to be better. That's inexcusable.
Especially when you're risking guys getting thrown out for arguing. I mean, we saw it in the Twins Astros series. Was it Eddie Rosario got thrown out?
I think
The
so.
game, and I mean, the pitch wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And they called a strike. I think it was strike 2, and then ends up striking out the next pitch. And of course, he said something. And he gets thrown out immediately.
And like last night, like on that strike him out, throw him out. I mean, Higashioka, he had the runner by a mile. I mean, it wasn't even close. And then like DJ, like he applies he thinks he's got the double play, and he's like, wait a minute. Like you could just see him walking around confused as hell. Like what just happened?
Yeah.
And it's like the tag didn't matter because it was ball 4. You know what I mean? So he gets the base automatically. But it's like, Jesus, guys, like, just be. If you're gonna be bad, be consistently bad, and be consistently bad in favor of both teams. You know what I mean? And like I said, maybe I'm a little bit more passionate because I was on the wrong end of it. But man, it just, it feels so fucking bullshit whenever, like, the game at worst at the end of the 4th should have been 2-2. Because they should have walked in a run on the Voit, either on the first pitch or the second pitch. It didn't matter. It should have been 2-2, and the Yankees still would have had the bases loaded with 2 outs. And I think Torres may have been coming up to the plate. Doesn't matter. But the whole momentum thing. If the Yankees go up 2-1, get a base hit, it becomes 4-1. The whole series changes from that point on, right? They can pit. They can their whole philosophy tonight becomes a whole lot different. All of a sudden you're not trying to pitch guys on super short rate. Maybe you try to give one of these other guys like a Davey Guard. Maybe you try to give one of these guys an extra out, give them a little bit more leash. Tonight there is no leash. It's win or go home. You know what I mean? And so it absolutely changes the complexion of that series. And Tanaka giving up that curveball on the first pitch as a homer to Kiermaier. If it makes it 2-2, that's fine. It's a mistake from Tanaka, whatever. But mistakes get accentuated and they get punished even greater in October whenever, a solo home run becomes a 3-run homer and now you're on the brink of elimination. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I'm just a little frustrated. I think the Yankee season ends tonight. I think the Rays are the better team, but just let them prove they're the better team. Just let them prove it. So yeah, that's my baseball rant.
Well, real quick, so there's 4 games tonight.
Yep.
Right. So every series could end tonight. They could all still extend beyond tonight and going into tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't spread the games out more. There's a game at 2, a game at 3:30, and then a game at 7 and 9. Why not make it 2, 5, 7, and 9? I don't know. Baseball's stupid. It's the worst run sport in the world. I think the Braves end it tonight. Their bats have been on fire. Fuck the Astros. I say the A's extend it. I think the Rays end it tonight, and I think the Dodgers put it away tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. I think the A's have the best chance of extending it. Maybe the Padres, they show a little heart and grit one out. the Marlins, they've been a real feel-good story, but the talent discrepancy between Atlanta and Miami is just too vast. I think that gets put away tonight. And like
Especially,
I
mean, playing in Houston, Atlanta's been beating the shit out of that ball.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they're putting
That
everything over the left field wall.
yeah, I was about to say that super short porch out there and left. You know what I mean? Um, Yeah, and it's surprising because Miami, you have to hit it a mile to get it out of that ballpark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you would think that short porch and left would benefit them as well, but I mean they really haven't used it too much to their advantage. So yeah, I think it's a wrap. I think both the NLC or the NLDS series, I think they end tonight. I think I agree with you. I think the A's they push it to 5, and I think the Rays win tonight. So, it's going to be a real frustrating night for me around 10 p.m. Central, but I'm excited to see what happens.
I can't remember who I picked in preseason to win. I know I picked the Reds as like a sleeper. I want to say I picked the Braves as the National League representative. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to bank on that. But I mean, it'd be cool to see the Braves win it just because I know the Dodgers are like the obvious pick. But I mean, at this point, it's stupid to not pick the Dodgers, right? Like
For sure. Yeah, I mean
they lost 17 games in the regular season.
pretty good.
I don't care if you're playing 162 or 60. 17 losses is absurd. So
yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's definitely the Dodgers championship to lose at this point. But moving ahead, let me calm down a little bit before I get fired back up. NBA, you mentioned it at the beginning of the show. We thought this series was going to be a wrap by the time we recorded this morning. Could be a wrap later on tonight. But man, it looks like the Lakers are going to win tonight. It looks like that they're going to close it out. It looks like LeBron's probably going to win Finals MVP.
yeah.
What are you thinking about that series so far?
I mean, it was nice to see the Heat show some heart in Game 3. They almost had them again in Game 4 on Tuesday night. I thought they had a chance. They kind of blew it a little bit late. But, I mean, given their injuries, they shouldn't even have a chance, right? They shouldn't be within 10, probably 15, 20 points of these dudes. Dragic is out there. Did you see the video of him the other day going through warm-ups? He's like sitting there trying not to cry, dude. He's in so much pain. But he's just trying to play. I mean, like, you got to give him some credit because.
Well, how many opportunities do you get to play in an NBA Finals? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, they battle. I mean, imagine you're going through this entire season. You get put on like a 5-month break. You're trying to battle back. You finally get there. You get to the playoffs. You go on this immaculate journey, right? You get to the finals, and then you get hurt. You tear your plantar fascia, which probably doesn't feel great. There's a guy like Domantas Sabonis. He had plantar fasciitis, and he missed the entire bubble.
Yeah.
This dude tore his plantar fascia, and he missed 2 games and is out there trying to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Sabonis is soft. Like, that's not the point of this. This is just saying.
Takes a lot of Percocet to
yeah, dude, I mean, this dude is grinding. I know he's going through it.
Yeah.
And
there's not enough ice in the world, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing multiple starters, and you're out there putting up a fight against arguably the best team in basketball. And I mean, I don't know. I think LeBron wins Finals MVP, but my argument would be that I think Anthony Davis deserves it. But I mean, obviously the Lakers are a different breed right now. They're getting. I mean, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is just coming out of nowhere and helping them. Nobody would have saw that coming 12 months ago.
It's interesting, right? Because, I think going into the season, we all talked about the possibility of Kawhi winning his 3rd Finals MVP with a 3rd different team. It looks like LeBron's going to do that later on tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think enough people are talking about it. Like, LeBron's gotten a lot of criticism throughout his career for moving and playing coach and all that stuff. The guy knows how to win. You know what I mean? In a season where you had to be flexible and things you couldn't predict how things were going to go. The man adapted perhaps better than anybody. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, it's his 17th year in the league, and he's going to become the Finals MVP for the fourth time in his career. I mean, the guy's a different level, man. I think it's unfortunate that he is probably not going to get his flowers until well after his playing career ends. But I mean, I think he's going to be the first player to ever do that, right? 3 Finals MVPs on 3 different teams.
I would assume so, yeah.
I mean, I can't think of too many players who won 3 titles on 3 different teams, let alone Finals MVPs. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I really think, for the first time in his career, it's not clear that he's the best player on the team, right? I mean, like you just said, you would make a case for Anthony Davis winning Finals MVP. Man, I don't know. I think they got lucky with the Heat injuries, but you don't take away a person's shine because of the injuries. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, everybody goes to. They try to. I mean, you can make that case when. Like with Toronto last year, but they had injuries of their own, right? But I mean, obviously the Warriors losing Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant's a lot different than the Heat losing Goran Dragic. Which, no disrespect to Goran Dragic, but he's not their number one option. He's not their number 2 option. Now, losing him and Bam Adebayo, that's a little bit different of a story. But Adebayo's come back.
But I mean, if you remember, even the Warriors. I mean, back in 2015 when they won that first title, they were facing the Cavs, and I think Kyrie and Kevin Love were out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, this year's a little different because everyone did have that 5-month rest period. But the NBA has always been as much of can you stay healthy as much as it's been who's the best team. Baseball, it's always it's who's hot at the right time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can look some of those Giants teams a decade ago, whoever gets hot at the right time. Football's kind of the same way. I mean, you can look at like the Giants teams from 10 years ago, maybe Philadelphia when they got hot with Nick Foles. Basketball, it's such a superstar driven league that the health of your team matters. I think it matters more than any of the other sports, really, just because of how much you influence the game.
Especially like losing a depth guy is even valuable, right? Like you lose your 8th guy, or I guess it'd be like your 3rd guy off the bench. That's still big because those are still big minutes. In baseball, you can lose a guy and make up for it. You can find replacements. And
there's strategies, right? Like if you lose your 4th starter on a baseball team, I mean, worst comes to worst, you could pitch your ace on 3 days rest, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you, right?
Right.
If you miss a guy who's putting up 20 minutes a game and is averaging 8 and 6, for instance, like that is. I mean, how many games do we see all the time where 8 points decides it? You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, you have 5 guys on the floor at any time. If one of those 5 is out and you're putting in somebody who's not playing with that rotation, it's much different. Like in the NFL, you got 11 guys on the field. You lose a receiver, you can try to emulate that. I mean, we see all the time you lose a running back, his backup can come in and still produce. In baseball, you could slide guys in the batting lineup and try to kind of match that production in some way.
I mean, even quarterback. Even quarterback. I mean, you can alter your game to run the ball more. I mean, we see backups come in all the time and be productive. Nick Foles a couple weeks ago brought a team back from double digits and won. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't replace Steph and throw in Sean Livingston and expect him to come out here and hit the same shots he's hitting and change the game on the offensive end. It's just not going to happen.
Correct.
And so, I mean, injuries are just a huge – obviously they suck, but, I mean, they're one of the more important factors. If you're looking at constructing a lineup, you don't want to have a bunch of guys who have an injury history because you don't know what's going to happen. Losing a guy for 2 games could be enough to completely derail. You could drop from the 3 seed to the 5 seed. Then you're playing on the road against a 4 seed instead of playing at home against a 6 seed in a playoff. And it completely changes everything. So
it's very true.
I mean, basketball is crazy like that, but I mean, I think obviously injuries are a big deal in every sport, right? It's not like it's completely washed away. But I mean, in basketball, it's much more difficult to replace those minutes and find similar production from guys, especially on short notice. In the biggest moment of your career, obviously you're not going to sit there and be like, "Hey, I want Jay Crowder taking 10 shots a game." That's just not how you're going to draw it up if you're Miami, and now that you're kind of stuck in that predicament. So,
Yeah.
I think
not.
Lakers put it away tonight.
I think so as well. I think tonight. I don't think it's even going to be close. To be honest with you, I don't know what the line is for tonight, but I have the Lakers covering. I think the Lakers probably win this one by 20. I think this game ends with probably about 8 minutes left in the fourth. I mean,
They'll get LeBron his little send off and all that, kind of get it going. And I'm probably not even going to watch tonight, if I'm being honest with you.
I probably won't either because the
I'd rather
Yankees
watch
have an
baseball.
elimination. Yeah, yeah. And it's just, I mean, yeah, I don't have that much interest in the NBA finals right now. It feels like such a foregone conclusion that there's not much point in me. I'll catch the recap show afterwards.
I never really was into the NBA finals. Like, even when it was Cavs Warriors at their peak, like, I'd watch here and there, and then I would watch the elimination games if it came once it came to it. But other than that, like, there's just not a whole lot about NBA finals that I'm excited for, especially given the time frame. It's usually midsummer, so we got summer baseball, and that's all I would watch, right? And then tonight, I mean, obviously the finals are going to be the higher rated.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't. Well,
I mean, if you're looking, I was sitting there thinking about football. So I even thinking about. I just said I was going to watch baseball, then I forgot baseball's on. Right, that's where my mind's at today.
Yeah.
So you're going. I mean, you're matching up game 5 finals in a 3-1 series that seems over, and you're matching it with Yankees in an elimination game. Dodgers can put a series away.
Tampa Bay's playing on Thursday night.
Night football. I mean, yeah, it's tough to compete. I mean, it's fun for a sports fan, right? There's a whole bunch of shit you can watch, but as far as ratings go, it's going to look like ratings are down everywhere because everybody's watching something different.
Well, I was going to say between the three major sports, I would actually probably say outside of LA that the basketball or the finals probably does the lowest rating outside of LA tonight. I would say that across the country outside of California, Yankees-Rays does more viewers than the NBA Finals.
Yeah, probably.
Is what I would say. I would say football probably beats all of them, but I would say Yankees-Rays beats the NBA Finals.
Football did go back to Fox, I believe, this week too.
I think so.
Thursday night, because it's usually been on NFL Network. So
yeah.
I mean, you got primetime games on every single network, it seems. I think TBS, Fox Sports 1, Fox, and ABC all have a game. So
yeah,
I mean, tough to compete with, but it'll be fun to keep in touch with. But speaking of Thursday night football, brings us to our weekly picks where I'm kicking your ass. So,
how did we do last week?
Last week, I'm telling you, dude, I suck so bad at picking locks. Last week I went 5-1 against the spread and 5-1 in the money line. My only loss in each category was my lock. Damn Dallas Cowboys. You last week had gone 4-2 on the money line, 3-3 against the spread, and you hit your lock, which was the Seahawks -6.5. For our total on the season, you are 14-10 money line, 11-13 against the spread, and 3-1 in your locks.
Whew.
I'm 1-3 in my lock, but I'm 15-9 in the money line, and 13-11 against the spread. So I got you in those. You got me in the lock.
Yeah.
Week 5 kicks off tonight. Buccaneers at Chicago, I believe. Thursday night football. First game we're gonna pick here. Buccaneers 3-point favorites on the road.
So I got this one at -3.5 earlier this morning. So this one's tough to pick. This one I had a little bit of difficulty because the Buccaneers are so banged up, right? I mean, they're missing Chris Godwin.
Their injury report this week was like 1.5 miles long.
Yeah, I mean it makes it really tough to pick this game. The only reason why I made my pick this week the way that I made it, I'll just go ahead and spoil it. I have Tampa Bay covering 3.5. I have them winning 27-20 over 44.5. The only reason why I took this is because Mike Evans was listed as questionable and not doubtful. I mean, if you've watched him this year, the dude has just been limping around the field, just dragging his body on every route he's had. The guy's had a touchdown in every game he's played, but like the guy just goes out there and I mean, he just doesn't look comfortable on the field. The guy
Nah.
isn't moving fluidly, but the guy is still producing. I mean, the guy is showing a hell of a lot of grit on a team right now that doesn't have a lot of grit. I could see him being really useful in short yardage situations, goal line situations tonight. I think he probably does end up getting like a 4 or 5 yard touchdown. I don't think this is going to be a very exciting game. I think Tampa Bay's got enough pieces to where they can win on a short week. But man, this one's tough to pick just because of the amount of injuries. But Tampa Bay, provided Mike Evans plays tonight, I'm gonna give them benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna take them -3.5.
Yeah, I've got Tampa Bay covering. I've got it going 27-21.
Okay.
I think like Mike Evans, like this always caught me off guard. I was watching them last year. I was looking at his numbers. Like he's only missed like 6 games in his career, but it seems like every single week he's on the injury report. He's listed as questionable coming in, and then he plays, and he might finish the game, but he might not. You never know. It seems to be a hamstring issue. And we saw last week he goes out there. I believe he wants a pass interference call like a third and short. Doesn't get it. Gets into a scuffle. Well, then the Buccaneers fumble, or the Chargers fumble first play, and then he goes back and scores. So he's running his mouth again. And I'll take it. I mean, my Matt Stafford take. He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. Yeah. Mike Evans is the top 5 receiver in the NFL, easily top 7. I would argue top 5 at this point. And he doesn't get that respect because you never know what you're going to get from him because the Saints will shut him down. But I mean, he's gonna win every jump ball. He's gonna beat you deep, and he's gonna make you earn it on the defensive end.
And see, like it's really hard because it's like if you look at his numbers, you wouldn't think he's been hurt, but then you watch him play, and it's like I don't even know if the guy's 50%. The guy is moving so poorly out there. Like last week, I think it was like 3rd and goal from like the 2. He catches a wide open touchdown in the back of the end zone and then hobbles to the sideline. It's like if you're moving that poorly and you can't jump 6 inches in the air to catch a ball and you're hurting when you land, do you really need to be on the field playing against Carolina? Do you really need to be on the field? Like,
but he's still out there producing, and that's what's impressive is like, bro, even if he's not even close to 100%, he's still the best player on the field.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Chargers aren't slouches, dude. Like,
and it's really interesting, right?
Are good.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it's like you look at him moving around the field, and it's like, well, you can probably not put your number 1 cornerback on this guy and be fine, right? Like, it probably wouldn't take much to shut this guy down. And then it's like you watch the guy, play and see what he's doing, and it's like, no, you kind of need to put your number 1 on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a physical dude. He's going to box you out in the end zone. And he's going to fight. I mean, we saw, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, he caught a screen pass. He did that little motion screen at the 1, and he caught it and took like 3 hits and just fell forward in the end zone. That dude is tough. I mean, he's one of my favorite dudes in the NFL. And, I mean, he probably is what made Johnny Manziel an NFL quarterback. Right? So, I mean, but I do want to say, looking back at that Chargers-Bucks game last week, Justin Herbert, man, he's still out there diming. We'll get to that because that's a Monday night game too. But that kid can throw the ball. He's obviously got a good arm, very good lower body. He's just smart in the pocket. He's much further ahead than I thought he would be. Gave his team a shot against Tampa Bay. His running back fumbled the ball inside their own 5 or inside their own 10. Cost them kind of early, I think it was right before the half of that one, but. Chargers will be a fun team to watch moving forward. Tampa Bay, I think, is still. I mean, if you watched them week 1, you probably thought, "Wow, they're not what we thought they're going to be." But now they're on a little bit of a roll. I think they've won 3 straight. So
Yeah.
I think they win tonight. I think it should be relatively easy for them.
Yeah. And speaking of Monday night we have Los Angeles Chargers. We got them playing at New Orleans. This is -7.5. This one's interesting. This one, personally for me, this was the toughest game of the week to play. I'll explain why here in a minute. First, though, Luke, what is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, I struggled picking. The Saints have been all over the place, right? They beat the Lions by 6 last week after being down by, I think, 14 in the first quarter. Drew Brees is on and off. Taysom Hill, best quarterback in football. The Chargers are kind of in that same boat to where you don't know what you're going to get from them each week. I don't know really how to value it because I don't know if they're going to – they still won't commit to Justin Herbert, which is kind of upsetting because he's been so good for them. Even though they're not winning games, it's like the situation with Dwayne Haskins. It's not his fault the team's not winning. If the team is so piss poor and they haven't had a very lucky schedule to start the season, it's not the quarterback's fault just because you're not winning.
Yep. There's a reason why you pick number 2. You know what I mean?
Right. You could have, like, the Trevor Siemian Broncos weren't picking number 1, right? And he wasn't good, but he's not the reason they were that bad either. So you're looking Chargers plus 7.5. I have them covering. I have the Saints winning at 26-23. That game could still be moved because of Hurricane Delta. We don't know. That spread could still change. That line could be all over the place by Sunday afternoon. We don't even know if they're going to play it Monday. As of right now, I'm going to take the Chargers to cover. Saints to take it outright, but.
Yeah, so you touched on it there. I've got the Saints covering this one 34-24 over 51. This one, if they play this game in New Orleans, I think New Orleans wins this one by double digits. I think that New Orleans, they had a difficult time last week dealing with the Lions, and the Saints, they don't look like the Saints that we're accustomed to seeing. Now, I know they're dealing with some injury issues. I know they're dealing with some things throughout their team. If this one gets moved to Indianapolis, I think this line should probably be moved to like -4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In which case, I don't know. My prediction probably changes, but right now -7.5. I gotta take New Orleans to cover that. You're right though. The Chargers have looked great, man. Justin Herbert. I mean, I know you weren't as high on him going into the draft this year. I thought that if I remember correctly, you didn't think he should have been drafted up near where he was.
Yes, I had him. So up until probably mid-March, I had him like top 20, and I just kept watching. I think I dropped him to like 40th overall on my board. I had him high second-round grade, but just not enough to where I thought he was going to be drafted in the first round. I thought he should be because he's a quarterback, right? You can always develop him. But I just didn't think I would have taken Tua and Burrow ahead of him like they did. But I think I had them way higher than. I understand why he went top 10, obviously, and we're seeing it now because he's got all the traits you want. I just didn't think he was consistent enough as a passer to be a top 10 quarterback. And so far, I was dead wrong. But, I mean, yeah, I had him top of the second round, but probably anywhere in the 20s would have been fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, the guys look great so far. It would not surprise me if the Chargers not only covered but won outright on Monday night. New Orleans, they've just looked really inconsistent. They've looked really really spotty, and I think this is a game they can't afford to lose. They've already, I don't know. This one feels like it should be an easy New Orleans win, but I don't know. I can see Los Angeles pulling the upset on this one.
Yeah.
So moving ahead, I believe we've got one other game in common for this week.
Yes. The Cleveland Browns, Indianapolis Colts. Where's this one at? It's in Cleveland.
Yep.
You got it at 2 points, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Browns are 2-point underdogs at home after just dismantling the Dallas defense. I mean, holy shit.
Yep.
They just put up 49 on Dallas. And obviously Dallas's defense sucks. They've been giving up at least 30 a game, I think, every game this season. Damn near 40. Worst defense in the league. Dak Prescott leads the league in passing yards by like 300 because they have no other choice. They got to throw the ball the entire second half. Cleveland looks good. They lost Nick Chubb, but they got, Kareem Hunt and Ike Hilliard, I think was his name. And some other, like Dearness Johnson. They're out here just running the ball. I think they ran for like 300 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
and you remember? Yeah, he had
looking like himself.
Yeah, he had the 50-yarder there to, I don't want to say put the game away because he made the game, 49 to like 20. So the game was kind of over. But,
yeah.
I mean, he looked great last week. 3 total touchdowns. I mean, guy was putting it together last week.
Yeah, I mean, he took the end around or the reverse for 50 yards for a score. He caught the touchdown pass from Jarvis Landry. And that's the thing, like, with Odell Beckham, they always say, well, you can't force him the ball because ball, like, you don't want to try to force throws to him because the defense is going to pick up on it. You don't have to force him throws down the field. Give him the ball. He's shown he's good after the catch. He's good with the ball in his hands. He creates. I don't know why it took them so long. Maybe Stefanski's been that good for them to where he's finding ways to be more innovative in getting him the ball. But, I mean, the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's been kind of more immersed in the offense, and they've been dominant. They're 3-1. Looking at the roster, you'd expect that from them. Looking at their history, you wouldn't expect anywhere near that for them. Austin Hooper's getting involved. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are running the ball. Baker Mayfield's looking good. Their defense has kind of been ass, but they're forcing turnovers. And that's all you need. They got the big turnover late. I mean, the Colts right now have the number 1 defense in the league. Xavier Rhodes has somehow been incredible for them. But look at who they've played, right? They played the Vikings, who weren't good yet. They played Jacksonville, who's Jacksonville. They beat the piss-poor Jets, who we've seen are not good. And then last week they had the... Who did the Colts just play? The Bears.
Oh, yeah.
So they haven't... Not taking any credit away from them, but it's hard to look at the quarter mark of the season and say, wow, this is the best defense in football, when you've played arguably 3 of the 4 worst defense or offenses in the league. So, I mean, obviously, yeah, well, if your defense is so good, you're going to hurt everybody else's offensive numbers. That's whatever. But I've got the Browns covering the 2 points. I have them winning it outright, 27-23. I think they continue to roll. They're going to compete in that tough AFC North, which nobody thought would be a thing. They could have 3 teams with 1 loss by the end of this week. So, I don't know. I like Cleveland this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I've got Cleveland also covering and winning outright. I've got a 31-30, over 40 over 46. Cleveland, they've got momentum right now, right? This is probably the best that team has looked in the last 25 years. I mean, and that's no exaggeration. I mean,
they haven't been over 500 in like 16 years.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a season. Everyone has talked about, at least for like the last 3 or 4 seasons, this is going to be the year Cleveland finally puts it together. This is the year where they make the play. This is the year where whatever. This might actually be the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A 3-1 record. They've looked really good so far. I've been impressed with what I've seen out of that team. I think they keep it rolling this week. I think if they can beat Indianapolis this week, I think they got Pittsburgh next week. The next 2 weeks, next 2 to 3 weeks, we're gonna really see if this Cleveland team is contender or pretender. And
right.
Baker Mayfield, he's got a lot to prove. They're starting to wonder whether or not he's going to be that quarterback leading them moving forward. OBJ, I mean, he was traded there essentially for his career to die. Jarvis Landry, he's got talent. Myles Garrett's got to perform, live up to that contract. They've got the pieces to do it.
Yeah. And, I got a few things with Cleveland. So I would consider Baker Mayfield their quarterback of the future. He might not be playing like a number 1 pick, like that expectation, but I think he's been very well. I don't think he's been as much of a problem as they're making it out to be. Myles Garrett's been playing out of his mind this year. I think he has 3 strip sacks already. Um, and the thing with Cleveland, right? So they've always been pretty bad at drafting. That's kind of been their thing. The last few years, they've done a great job of getting guys from big schools. And obviously, you can find guys from anywhere. You can find contribution from anywhere in the country. But late in the draft, they're drafting like Mac Wilson. I had him as a top 10 player a couple years ago. They get him later in the draft. He's their starting linebacker. He's the dominant force for them. They draft Grant Delpit this year out of LSU. He's hurt. He's going to miss the season. They got a lot of guys from Alabama and from LSU on both sides of the ball. They got Baker from Oklahoma. If you get guys who are elite athletes and you can just find a place to put them on the field, you're going to have success. And that's what they're getting right now. Their linebacking core is fast. Their defensive backs are incredible guys. They make big plays on the ball. They lose Grant Delpit. Their backup, Carl Joseph, is out there making plays. He was a first-round pick like 4 years ago. So you're out there, you're just getting guys with talent and finding a way to maximize their strengths. And that's all you can really hope for from a team who has not been that successful with drafting on their own.
Yep.
I mean, if you're just finding a place to put guys, it's just like in baseball. If you have a hitter, you just got to find a way to get him into the lineup. And we've seen it finally start to work for them, which is good because they're finally starting to spend money too, right? They've never really spent. They've always had gone into the season with like $80 million in cap space because nobody wants to play for them. Well, now you extend Myles Garrett, you pay Odell Beckham, you sign a couple big free agents, you get Austin Hooper in there, you sign Jack Conklin to play on your offensive line. Now your run game really gets rolling. You can protect Baker Mayfield. You can kind of save some time, get the ball out. Your defense isn't on the field as much. You're forcing turnovers. It's everything that they've been trying to get for the last 3 or 4 years with Baker and whoever. I don't even know who they had before Baker, but it's starting to fall into place for them, and that's finally what fans have been hoping for. So shout out to the Dog Pound for sticking around. This could be the year they make the playoffs. Obviously, there's now another spot available in the AFC. They just have to go out there and compete. Outside of Cincinnati, anybody can win that division right now. So
true, very true.
It'll be a fun one. What's your fourth game?
My fourth game. Yeah, my fourth game. I'm gonna take Dallas. They are playing at home against the New York Giants this week. They're -9.5. It's hard to trust that. It's hard to trust Dallas, but at the same time, they're playing New York, who might be the second worst team in the league. I think they're 1-3. Dallas is. If they have any, hell, I say that, but they're only a half game back. I got Dallas covering -9.5. I think they win this one 31-10, under 54. This is interesting because I think you made a tweet this week, and I want to give you credit if you said it, but you said that this Dallas team is a prime example of why you can't pay a quarterback and a running back top money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because if you look at that defense, man, when you're getting carved up by Cleveland, big problems. They really should be 0-4.
40 on them. They should be. Outside of the stupid Atlanta onside kick, they haven't been in, Seattle beat the brakes off of them, but Seattle's defense sucks, so Dallas hung around. Atlanta only lost because their defense sucks and they hung around. Cleveland, their defense kind of gave up late in that game because they were up by 20-something points until it was over.
Yep.
And I can't remember who else Dallas has played. But, Dak, I wouldn't say it's all garbage time for him. Because, the way he's throwing the ball and the way they're moving the ball, it's not like it's just given to him. They're still making great plays. And no disrespect to him. If they were 2-2, he'd be probably the MVP leader right now. But they're 1-3 because they just can't win, and that's going to hurt his MVP candidacy.
Yeah, if you're averaging 30 points a game, you usually win a lot of games, right? The problem is when your defense is averaging 40.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to win.
Yeah.
You're looking at the Vikings are in the same boat. You're paying a quarterback and a running back top dollar. And the Cowboys, they signed Everson Griffin and Gerald McCoy and all these old guys. It's like, well, they could pay their defense. No, they signed them to very cheap deals. They're old, so they're not going to produce like they used to. McCoy got hurt and got cut. They're not paying Earl Thomas, who's available right now. That baffles me. Their secondary is dog shit. It might be the worst in the league. They're giving up deep play after deep play. They have no help they have a rookie corner in Trevon Diggs, who I was high on, right? He's a great athlete. I think he's going to be the number one cornerback for a long time. But his rookie year, you have him guarding number one receivers, and there's no safety help over top because you're not paying Earl Thomas. Go pay Earl Thomas if you want to win that division. Obviously, you need like 6 wins to do that because that division is dog shit. But it doesn't make sense. Like, Jerry Jones they have the cap space at this point to go get Earl Thomas for a cheap deal. But if you go into next year and you're paying Dak Prescott $45 million and you're paying Zeke another $15, that's a third of your cap space, assuming it doesn't go down like they're expecting it to, and 2 guys who can't really – like, Zeke has not been good this year. I don't care what you say.
Well,
outside of week 1 against the Rams, he was fine. But he fumbled the ball twice against Atlanta. He fumbled it once last week. He's only getting like 60 yards on the ground once they're up ahead and they can start running the ball. But he's not been the same guy. You can't pay that much money to a running back and a quarterback and expect to have success.
I mean, you're not lying. You're not lying at all. You know, it's funny because I really think that they should give him a deal, $60 million annually. You know what I mean? Just absolute. Yeah, just give him all the money he wants, but put your whole cap space onto him, really.
I mean, I've been critical of Prescott in the past. Like, up until middle of last season, I didn't have him as a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. I just didn't ever see it. He was good, but he was never in that elite category. Now, I think he is. I think he's become one of the best quarterbacks in football. But you also have to consider, look at the situation he's in. You could argue that, he was taken after Wentz and Goff, and he's the best quarterback in that group. Sure, I would agree with that, but let's not be stupid and act like he doesn't have, up until this year, the best offensive line in football, a good run game behind him before they had to pay him because you can afford Zeke because you got a rookie scale quarterback who was a 4th-round pick. He's getting like $500,000 a year. A decent defense, and his receiving core has been absurd since he's been there.
Yep.
He had Des Bryant, then he gets Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, and now he's got CeeDee Lamb, Blake Jarwin. I can't remember who their backup tight end, Dalton Schultz. Like, he's had a very lucky draw in terms of weapons around him, and that's not trying to take away from what he's done, but you look at a guy like Wentz who has no offensive line. They don't utilize the run game. His receivers are just ass, dude. I mean, I know you know it.
Yeah.
Prescott's been really good, but it's not like he's had to kind of overcome the same difficulties as the other guys. But that's for another day. I don't want to get too far into that because there's just not much to say, right? Like, Prescott's been good, but he's also been very favorable.
True.
And shout out to Philly for winning last week and taking first place in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Shit, that game sucked.
All they do is win, baby.
You see that play from Brandon Ayuk, though?
Yeah.
That was oh man,
that was pretty sweet, wasn't it?
That was dirty. But anyway, trying to get back on topic here.
Yeah. So speaking of Philly, go ahead.
I got to
make your pick.
Whoa, slow your
I
horse.
I know. I'm quick to jump.
I've got Cardinals at Jets. Cardinals -7. Yeah, hammer that. Joe Flacco is starting for the Jets on Sunday. Oh, yeah, I'll take the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals, who've lost 2 straight, got pounded by the Panthers last week. I think they come back, they bounce back. Obviously, their defense is going to get back into a group because, holy shit, is a 70-year-old backfield of Joe Flacco and Frank Gore really going to threaten your defense? Braxton Berrios going to beat Byron Murphy and Patrick Peterson? The Jets, okay,
Rant time. Okay, so Adam Gase has proven nothing in his career, right? He's ass. I don't know why he's still a head coach. Now, the Jets are bad. Everybody knows the Jets are bad. You're preparing for the future. You have young people on your roster. You have LaMichael Pirine, who I think is a pretty good running back. I had him in the second or third round. I think he was drafted in the fourth or fifth. I really like him, right? Le'Veon Bell's on IR. Hey, call me crazy. See what you got in the young guy and stop giving the fucking ball to Frank Gore. Frank Gore should not be getting 25 touches a goddamn game when you have no hope to make the playoffs. He's not doing anything for your offense. You're not moving the ball. Your offense is bad. Sam Darnold has no help because you're out here. Every first down, you're just dropping back and handing the ball off to a 35-year-old running back who's getting 3 or 4 yards to carry. Come on, dude.
Oh, man.
This is not good. Sam Darnold's out here. He gets a sprained AC joint. Then he runs this stupid 40-something yard touchdown run because he does a fake slide, which should be illegal because the defense isn't allowed to hit you when you slide. So you do a fake slide, they all back off, and then you take it to the house. Bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed. He gets hurt. Your only good player on offense outside of Sam Darnold, your left tackle, he gets hurt, and Adam Gase is like, hey, go out there and play. You have a rookie left tackle pull himself from the game because he doesn't want to play because he's hurt, and your coach trying to force him to play. And he says, no, I'm not playing. Dude, you cannot have a rookie showing you up like that because you are so stubborn. You're not going to win a game, dude. Save him.
Oh, my.
You're going to get the number 1 pick. You can trade Sam Darnold probably. Dude, teams would go crazy if Sam Darnold's available for trade. He's obviously a good quarterback. He just hasn't. What's he going to do? Throw the ball to Braxton Berrios 12 times a game? Bro, Adam Gase should have been fired 2 years ago. He shouldn't. It doesn't make. You're killing Sam Darnold's career. You're killing his confidence. You have no hope. Stop giving the ball to Frank Gore, dude. It's driving me nuts. There's no reason to do it. So, yeah, Cardinals -7. I'm going to hammer that one. I mean, jeez, man. Thank God I'm not a Jets fan.
I mean, they almost pulled it off last week on Thursday. They almost did.
And then guess what? The Broncos covered because the Jets suck. Jeez, man. They are so bad on both sides of the ball. Your only good player was Jamal Adams, so I get why you trade him because now you got draft picks. But guess what? Probably going to waste those draft picks.
My.
Geez, man, the Jets are so bad. You think Washington's a poorly run organization? Damn, the Jets are really giving them a run for their money. Talk about a finish. Holy shit, they are bad, dude. In Washington, while I'm already goddamn bitching about everything, they just benched Dwayne Haskins, who had the best game of his season against the best defense in football, in my opinion.
Whew.
Yeah, we don't want cheap wins. Ron Rivera, hey, listen, bro. I respect Ron Rivera. He's going through a lot of shit right now. Pulling Dwayne Haskins is not going to make their team better.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
For him and Terry McLaurin have gone back since high school or since college. Dynamic duo, right? I mean, McLaurin's like 5th in the league in receiving yards. And you're going to pull Haskins because your offensive line is dog shit and your receiving core outside of McLaurin is inexistent. You're throwing the ball to Logan Thomas most. Like, he's your most targeted receiver. Hey, he's the 3rd string tight end anywhere else in the league. And you're going to pull him for Kyle Allen, who Rivera had last year in Carolina. Hey, you saw him in Carolina, dude. He's not good. He's just not good. And here's the thing. You don't even drop Haskins from the lineup. You drop him all the way to 3. You put Alex Smith with no leg as the 2. Haskins is going to be inactive the rest of the season. Any team in the NFL right now would be smart to offer them like a 5th or a 6th round pick for Haskins because he's not starting for them anymore. He didn't even take reps in practice yesterday. I don't know if that was because he didn't want to do it himself or if they just took him all away from him. Dude, he's a 23-year-old quarterback playing for one of the like I just said, the worst run organization in football. And he doesn't have success in 13 games. You know who else didn't have success in his first year? Peyton Manning. He went 3-13 as a rookie. Imagine if they just gave up on him.
Well, I mean, did he really have that great of a career? Peyton Manning?
I would argue probably not. I mean, what? A couple Super Bowls, every stat in the book. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Dwayne Haskins is that good. I'm not. That's not my point. I'm just saying you can't give up on a guy that quick because you can win a shit division. Oh, congrats! You're gonna go 6-10 now instead of 5-11, and still get a top 10 pick, and still have no shot at the future because you just gave up on your only good quarterback that you've had since Kirk Cousins. Like, goddamn, dude, it's so. But anyway, yeah, the Eagles. Fuck.
Hey, all they do is win, baby. All they do is win. Carson Wentz, we are back on the hype train. First ballot Hall of Famer. Okay, he is king of Philly again. I'm just kidding. All that's false. I will say though, hell of a gutsy win last week against a 49ers team that I thought was just going to beat the brakes off of them. I mean, it's sad that a 1-2-1 record is leading a division. It kind of makes Doug Peterson look like a genius for punting away a win a couple weeks ago.
I mean, God, dude, that game Sunday was. It
looked
like it was over early, and then the Niners. I mean, they ended up pulling their quarterback.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting.
What's he time this year? Jesus.
You know, I don't know, man. Carson Wentz. I mean, you go back and forth on the guy, right? Last week he looked pretty good there in the second half. I mean, the guy was making plays. He threw a touchdown to a guy whose name I can't even remember. I mean, probably a third stringer on any high school JV team in the country. Exactly. You don't remember.
No, I saw it. I can't remember who it was, though.
But
that's a good point.
I mean, the guy's got no receivers. I mean, that team has so many injuries. I mean, their first-round pick in Jalen Reagor, I don't even know if he's going to play this year.
Probably not. Doesn't look good right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's injured. Deshaun Jackson's injured. Zach Ertz doesn't. I mean, who else is there?
Goddard.
Goddard's injured. He's on IR. Zach Ertz doesn't want to be there. They've got.
Why don't they give the ball to Miles Sanders?
That's a great point. So that's what I mentioned this to you on Friday night, and I'll tell everyone here. They should really just, if you guys have ever played Madden, there's a feature that's called Chew Clock, right? Where you just, play every snap with like 10 seconds left to go. That's exactly what the Eagles should do. The Eagles should hold the ball for 46 minutes of the time of possession and just try to make every game 14-10. I mean, you have no wide receivers. I mean, there's no secondary in the country is scared of the Eagles.
No.
Like, Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz might be your only offensive weapons on that team. I mean, Carson Wentz can run, give you a first down if you need to. He can make some plays here and there, but he's inconsistent. And really, it's hard to tell whether his inconsistencies are based on his lack of weapons. If Carson Wentz had the same weapons Dak Prescott has, Philly might be 4-0. I mean,
yeah,
just straight up. But no, they don't. They've got dog shit for weapons on that team. What they really should do is, I mean, like you just said, give the ball to Miles Sanders and just chew the clock, just from kickoff. Like, all right, we're snapping this ball with 3 seconds left on the play clock every time.
It's like on Waterboy when Bobby Boucher's at linebacker, right? And they're sitting there trying to not let him make a play on defense, and they start kneeing the ball, and they say, hey, you know what? What does give the ball to your offense? They should just do that, but the opposite, just, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to keep on the field and keep our defense out of it.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, they're not a big play offense. They're not. They shouldn't be, because that's how they get in trouble. I mean, granted, I mean, if you try to hold the ball the whole time, defenses are going to catch on to it. They're just going to, try to stuff the run. But really, they should just do 4-yard running plays and 8-yard mesh passes. That's exactly what they should do. Just keep the ball moving, stay in bounds. Just make every possession a 6 or 7 minute possession and just keep it moving. Okay. Like, I can't tell you how many times they go 3 and out and use 12 seconds of the clock.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not winning too many shootouts in this league with that offense. You're just not.
No.
You know,
And I mean, I like John Hightower coming out of college in the draft. He's fast, kick returner guy, big play threat, deep threat. Only problem with him was, well, other than he's like 160 pounds, Duke drops everything. Oh, what have we seen through 4 games? He's their only healthy young guy, and he's dropping everything.
Yep.
And I mean, if he can, they got to find a way to get him the ball, whether it's a jet pass or some sort of just get the ball to him in space, because he can make a play with it. If you're throwing him the ball anywhere beyond 5 yards, I don't trust him to haul it in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do something because the style of offense that they run for the first 3 weeks just isn't going to win too many games. I mean, they really should just try to hold on to the ball for 45 minutes. I mean, try to hold on to the ball for the whole quarter if you have to. 20 play drives. Just, I don't care if it's the most boring style of games. I don't care if the games last 2 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, that's the only way they're going to win in this league consistently. I mean, they're leading that division because somehow every other team in that division is more incompetent than what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get it. That leads me to my next pick, Philadelphia on the road, plus 7.5 at Pittsburgh this week. I've got Philadelphia covering, but losing on the money line 21-26. I have this one going over 44.5. You know, Philly, they've got a little momentum. Obviously, I mean, you say someone's got to win the Dallas-New York game, but that game could end in a tie. Someone in the division is likely going to go to 2 wins this week. And so, really, Philly would be, it would be in their best interest to play like they need to win this game. I say that. They will probably lose by 20 now. Yeah, I mean, I got Philly covering, losing by 5. Pittsburgh is such a much better team than what Philadelphia is. Philadelphia is going to be lucky to keep this close. I don't think they have any chance of winning this one outright. But I said the same thing last week with San Francisco, and look what they did. So,
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how this plays out. I think Pittsburgh wins this one. Philadelphia keeps it close, though.
All right. Yeah. Shoot. Where are we? Was that our 4?
No, that was my 5th.
Oh, yeah. So my 5th, Texans against Jacksonville. I believe Texans are 6-point favorites, and I got them covering and winning. I think that team's gonna rally behind Bill O'Brien's bitch ass being gone. He's just not been good to them at all. I mean, he traded away their future, got nothing in return, and then had them go 0-4, and he got fired, leaving them with. Let's see. 0-4, no GM, no head coach. They got a good quarterback, and that's really about it. They almost came back against Minnesota last week. They get up catching it in the end zone with about 20 seconds left. They end up getting ruled incomplete. I don't trust them a whole lot, but I've got them beating Jacksonville because I don't think Jacksonville's all that great. I think Jacksonville will be able to throw the ball just because... I mean, Texans defense hasn't been super great, obviously. DJ Chark can obviously do whatever he wants. I'll put my money on Houston. Not super confident, but this week's games are pretty tough to pick regardless. So I got it 28-17 Houston. I think Watson gets going again. I heard J.J. Watt even went off on Bill O'Brien, which you don't see that a lot from a guy like him. It's just maybe we get a little bit of a culture shift down in Houston, but yeah, things not looking good for them. Hopefully they can get a win here and knock themselves out of the top 5 pick race because I don't know what they're gonna do if they're picking top 5. Well, they don't even have their pick. Never mind. Yeah, they're in a bad situation. They keep losing. Miami can end up with 2 top 5 picks in a class that would be perfect for them. They can go another quarterback. They can get an offensive lineman. They can do whatever they want, and nobody would bat an eye because Houston's an idiot. Houston is idiots. I don't know how that would be phrased. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean,
That I'm not super confident in that one, but I'll roll with it for now.
I understand.
Got to be ballsy to win sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But
My lock of the
what's your
week.
lock?
My lock of the week. Carolina on the road against Atlanta. Atlanta -1.5. Atlanta, this is a must-win game. Just no way, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. This is a must-win. They lost on Monday night to Green Bay. Atlanta is 0-4 to start the year, I think.
Yes.
And I mean, I think they could still be a playoff team if they get hot with that extra playoff spot being implemented this year. This is must win. If they lose to a bad Carolina team, their season is a wrap. Dan Quinn he could clean his locker out by Monday.
He should have cleaned it out this week. He should have cleaned it out after the Dallas game, but
yeah, I think that if he loses to Carolina this week, he definitely will be. Yeah, Atlanta -1.5. This one just feels like a gimme. 28-24 Atlanta wins under 54.5. I mean, Atlanta technically could throw this game if they don't like Dan Quinn and get him out of town, but I don't think that'll happen.
no.
The talent discrepancy between the two sides is vast. Atlanta's been able to keep it close with teams this year. You can argue they should have won. They should at worst be 2-2 right now, but instead they're 0-4. I think that they're going to win. They're going to win, cover the spread, and I'm hopefully going to go 4-1 on my locks. So
Yeah,
that's my lock of the week.
Ever since they lost in the Super Bowl, we've had the same story with Houston or with Atlanta. It's offense is really good. Matt Ryan's really good, top 10 quarterback in the league. Defense is absolutely atrocious, and they can't stay healthy. And so far this year, defense has been abysmal. Offense can't stay healthy. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley keep battling injuries. Defense, I don't know if there's a single guy on that defense that's making plays. Yeah, they just don't look good. I picked them to win that division before the season started, and I was legit confident in that. And now, I mean, it would be a good story if they do end up getting the number one pick because Trevor Lawrence is from Georgia. And that'd be a pretty seamless transition from Matt Ryan to him. But, I mean, damn, dude, their offense is so good. I don't know how they're not winning games, but it's because their defense is clueless out there. You could take any defensive prospect in the country, and they would be an automatic upgrade wherever you put them on their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, A.J. Terrell's been solid for them. Their first-round pick this year, but he's been on the COVID list. I mean, they've had such a bad luck of injuries and like timing of everything has just not been anything close to favorable for them. So
Yep.
I think Dan Quinn's on his last ride. I think if they lose another one, he's gone. It's only a matter of time, which I don't get that. Like if you say, hey, a coach is on the hot seat, if they lose this week, he's gone. Why not just fire him? What's he going to do to save his job if they win this one over the next 3 weeks? And that brings me, God damn it, brings me back to the Jets. They come in, after they get stomped by the Colts, they say, if he loses Thursday night to the Broncos, who are playing a third-string quarterback, his job is done. Well, lo and behold, they lose to the Jets on Thursday night, and then they come out then on Friday morning and say, well, his job is safe. Why? Dude, Brett Rippon just came in and torched you. And let's not be wrong. Brett Rippon didn't even look good. He was okay in the first half, but he was pretty bad second half, and he torched you, dude.
Gosh. Oh, man.
I don't get the idea of, well, hey, we'll give the coach one more shot. If he wins, he keeps his job. No. Fire him. What's 1-4 gonna? What's between 1-4 and 0-5? I tell you, it's nothing. Especially in that division where Tampa Bay's 3-1, the Saints are 2-2, Carolina's 2-2. You beating Carolina only makes you in last place by a game. Oh wow, way better than being in last place by 3 games and locking up one pick. Like it just doesn't make sense to me, and especially in a year where you're looking at you're looking at a top 5 pick when there's 3 good quarterbacks coming out and an offensive lineman coming out. You can even keep Matt Ryan if you really want to. You might as well see what you got in your coaching staff, see what you got in your young guys. There's no point in saying, oh, Dan Quinn won a game in which he gave up 48 points, but his offense put up 49, and he's supposed to be a defensive guru. It's the same thing with Mike Zimmer. Like, he's a defensive guy, and your offense is the only reason you're winning games. Hey, buddy, your philosophy's not working. Like, it baffles me.
Oh, man, you're killing me, dude. You're killing me.
My lock of the week. My favorite game from last week was the Rams and the Giants. Obviously, the Rams win. It's a close one. Giants cover the spread. Daniel Jones looks really good until the only drive of the game that matters, the last one, he throws a pick. Perfect Daniel Jones scenario. He's like Carson Wentz. Of course, they're in the same division. I mean, he makes good play after good play, and then he just shits the bed out of nowhere, and then it costs them the game. Turnovers are an issue. I don't think the Giants draft the quarterback if they're picking top 5. But then again, what choice do they have, right? I mean, you can take another offensive lineman, but Daniel Jones has been so inconsistent to where it's like, okay, well, his team's kind of bad around him. He doesn't have Saquon.
Yeah.
This is about the Giants. I don't know why I'm going on, but anyway. Yeah, so last week, I don't know if you saw, but the Jalen Ramsey incident. Listen, I'm not condoning what Jalen Ramsey has done, but I got to say, I love Jalen Ramsey. I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in football, regardless of if you want to say he's had a down year or two. Hey, he's having a down year, and he's still a top 3 corner in the NFL. Schematically, he might be in a different situation than he was in Jacksonville. And sure, he might benefit better from playing alongside other guys. But, dude, if you need to stop, I'm trusting him. It's him, Marlon Humphrey, and Stephon Gilmore. Those are the 3 guys I'm trusting to make a stop when the game's on the line. Tre'Davious White's up there, too. So this offseason, it comes out, Jalen Ramsey had I believe, two daughters with Golden Tate's sister, right?
Yeah.
He leaves his sister to date a stripper, which, hey, that's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. You can't force a relationship. That's not for me to talk about, right? Well, Golden Tate comes out and says, hey, he knows he's going to have to see me. He's going to have to back himself up. He knows it's going to be a fight. Golden Tate takes this little end around, and Ramsey blows up his blocker and just file drives this dude into the ground.
Hit him with spine buster. Just,
dude.
Arn Anderson would be proud.
After the game, it's still real to me, damn it. After the game, the fight field, guess what? It's Jalen Ramsey and Golden Tate. Golden Tate's picked fights everywhere he's been. He fought his own teammates before a Super Bowl. Ramsey probably wins that fight. There's not enough footage to really see anything, but we know that they go to the ground. They kind of throw some punches. Nothing was hinted out after the game. No fines, no suspensions, or anything like that. Then after the game, in the locker room, it comes out Jalen Ramsey is waiting outside the Giants locker room to confront him again. Jalen Ramsey, say what you want about him being an asshole, him being not a good guy off the field. He will talk his shit, and he will back it up on and off the field. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care how big you are. Anything. He will back up his shit, and he's down to fight. And I love that about him. Name me one good cornerback who doesn't talk shit. Outside of, Stephon Gilmore's the only one that I know of that hasn't publicly talked shit to anybody. But I believe he did get into it with Devontae Parker, maybe. But that's about it. Other than that, Jalen Ramsey, Marcus Peters. Dude, they talk their shit because you got to play games with the dude's mind. You got to get in their head. And Jalen Ramsey's the best in the world at that. So that brings me this week. He's playing Kyle Allen of Washington, replacing Dwayne Haskins. And you already know where I stand on this one. Rams at 7-point favorite seems like a gimme. They just struggled against the Giants. They're going to come out with a vengeance. They're going to beat the brakes out of Washington. I've got the Rams winning this one 31-20. The Washington gets a late score. It's going to be 31-13. They put it up late. Dude, Rams are a tough team anyway. I think they're 3-1. They can go to 4-1 this week. Top of that division. Them in Seattle. I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm putting all my trust in Jalen Ramsey and Jared Goff this year, and I don't care how stupid I sound. You can say, yeah, Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in football. Jalen Ramsey's the most important player on that defense because on a good day, he's phenomenal. On a bad day, he's pretty good. Right? And
yeah.
if you could shut down a number one receiver like Terry McLaurin, you're going to be all right. Man, dude. I don't want to watch that game, but I might have to just for the sole purpose of talking my shit. But, yeah, shout out Jalen Ramsey, one of my favorite dudes in the NFL. He's got everything you want in a corner. He got out of Jacksonville, which has been a shit show of an organization for the last 3 or 4 years. Everybody's leaving. The Rams are back. Sean McVay's best play caller in the NFL. Man, it's going to be fun. I think that's going to be a blowout. I just don't think Washington's good at all. Kyle Allen's not good. Jalen Ramsey did talk shit to Josh Allen, and Josh Allen beat him twice now. And Josh Allen's playing like an MVP caliber quarterback. That's yet to be seen. He hasn't really played any, except for the Rams defense. They haven't really played anybody. Quarter mark of the season, it's hard to point fingers to MVP, but yeah, NFL's been fun this year, man. A lot of, outside of the Titans ruining it for everybody, it's been
Well, and we got a little bit of time left here in today's show. What do you think happens with that? They still got players coming out positive, and now you got players popping up positive around the league. There's talk last week that the KC New England game was going to get. It did get postponed. What do they do?
I don't know. Well, did you see the Titans held a secret practice when they're supposed to be shut down because of having the COVID or the positive test? Well, then they get caught having an illegal practice. Then more tests come out positive. Meanwhile, down in Florida, the Dolphins were just given the green light to have a full capacity stadium.
Yeah.
Dude.
65,000.
The NFL's got to get some sort of policy in place to where it's standard for everybody.
Yeah.
It should be. The Dolphins said they're only going to keep 15,000, but Dolphins having 15,000 and the Vikings having nobody.
Yeah.
That's completely different. 50,000 fans isn't a lot given the size of the stadium. That's still a lot more than zero. And
well,
the Titans have to be punished, dude. They've handled this so poorly.
I was gonna say,
they're throwing off. The Bills are 4-0. They're gonna throw them off. They're gonna have to take an early bye week. The Steelers had to take an early bye week. It's not fair to the teams that they've played and who they're set to play. So
yeah, and really, this is a. How do I want to say this? Do you make them forfeit the game on Sunday? That's a little unfair to all the other teams in the AFC North to give Buffalo a free win. Man, you got to do something, though. Really, you can't have this kind of drama week in and week out. You know what I mean?
And they talked about postponing the season 2 weeks and giving everybody set up in a hotel. You're still going to have to travel.
Yep.
I just don't know how.
Do you come out and do you limit the amount of hours the team can practice, be in contact with you? If you do that, I think the integrity of the season goes down significantly. If you limit how much time you can be on the field in the film room, whatever. You can't really do a bubble format because each game takes 3 hours to play. And outside of maybe Los Angeles, I don't know that many cities in the country that's got top tier football fields. You know what I mean?
Right.
Out in LA, you could use, you can use SoFi, you can use the Charger Stadium they were using last year. If you have to, you can use the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and the Coliseum.
Yeah, the Coliseum. You have options there in LA if you have to, but they got to do something, man. At this point, it really feels like you're either going to risk the competitive integrity of the season or, I don't know. Not looking too good right now.
No, and I mean you have your captain, your leader, Ryan Tannehill was one of the guys that was at that practice. Obviously, like some guys are saying, well, it's for our job. That doesn't matter, dude. You're not allowed to be practicing. You're jeopardizing everybody else's season for trying to mask the mistake that you already made, and you're just making matters worse.
And really, it's not. It would be bad if they were just affecting the people on their team and the people in the NFL. But the problem is that we don't know how much contact these guys are having with people outside the NFL who could be contacting and so once you start following that rabbit hole and you start doing that kind of contact,
they go home to their family, then say their wife goes out to the store. I mean, then you're just spreading it. And whether you could argue, yeah, sure, the death rate's super low. That doesn't matter. That's not the whole point of this. We don't know long-term effects. We don't know who's got what underlying disorder. We don't know anything. We don't know who's at risk, who's not at risk.
Yeah.
Being careless with it, it's not going to make it go away.
No. And, things are only going to get worse because flu season's starting to come up here now. And
yeah, I mean, we could get a hold on it in the first month. We're not going to get a hold on it now, especially with everything getting more open. It's not a good.
And, I mean, really, I don't want to get too political or anything, but, you do have the election coming up here in a month. People are going to be out and about for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I will say, you had some deals like with the protests that happened this summer. I don't know how much, if there were any spikes that came out of that, but it just doesn't seem that great right now. If you're, someone in the NFL looking at, PR, it's not great, especially if you're in Tennessee, man. I hate to say to make them forfeit their season, but
I mean, we're getting to that point where if they have to postpone another game, because it looks like this week's game against Buffalo is not going to happen. They played the Vikings with a positive test. They just didn't tell anybody. They had a guy test positive Saturday morning, and he played on Sunday. And, I mean, then you're risking spreading it to them, and then the Vikings don't play out until the next week, and then they're spreading it because they're in practice and all. I mean, you're getting to the point where the Titans have to. I mean,
and remember,
a big fine, a draft pick, something has to come out of it.
Well, I was going to say, remember, it's not like you get it today, it shows up tomorrow. You know what I mean? It could take a couple weeks before it shows up on a test. So, who's the Vikings who they've played? Their opponent's got to be a little worried now. And so. I mean, you start following this. I mean, the NHL and the NBA, they did a perfect job with their bubbles, right? There were no positives that came out of the NHL bubble. I don't think there were any positives that came out of the NBA bubble. Baseball, I mean, you look at the Cardinals who had, I don't think they played for like 3 weeks, somehow made the playoffs. That's different conversation for a different day. But, man, something's got to change, man. I mean, this has just been a shit show for the NFL in terms of how they've handled this so far.
It looked good early on. Like the first couple of weeks, things were looking fine, and then all of a sudden, like
the wheels fell off the bus.
Coming into week 3, like I mean, everything. I mean, I thought Cam Newton testing positive was going to make the league take notice, and it didn't. Like who's going to have to test positive for them to shut things down? Because I think it's inevitable at this point.
Well, I mean, even if you don't shut things down, you have to change something fundamentally about what you're doing with your protocols. You know what I mean?
If Aaron Rodgers tests positive in the next few days, do we see the season get pushed back another month?
Well, I mean, really, what's the difference between ending your season in February, first weekend of February, as compared to ending it in the first month of February? It's not like things get better in that month.
No.
Are you going to push it back to summer? No, because you're just not going to do it. So, I don't know, man. They're going to have to try to do something in terms of limiting contact within the teams, limiting the amount of practice time. Post game handshakes and stuff like that. They might have to. I don't know, man.
It's not been a good couple weeks.
Not at all. And you got to figure something out quick if you're the NFL, because this week and next week might, things keep going the way they're going. It could be the last couple weeks of the NFL season. And I hate to sound hyperbolous or something like that, but you have another breakout similar to what the Titans just experienced over the last week and a half. Man, the NFL can't afford that. You know what I mean?
No. But, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, the Titans just handled it poorly. They were
Yep.
careless. They didn't really even take responsibility for it or accountability. They kind of just swept it under the rug and tried to get away with it. It didn't work out. Their
Yep.
coaching staff needs to be on top of things. They need to be more just like understanding of the repercussions that they're going to face. And if it keeps happening, I mean, if they have another instance where they get caught being out or having a secret practice, you've got to really consider ending their season and forfeiting some sort of draft capital or a big fine or something, because you can't just like let it go under the rug, because they've already ruined the Bills season now, the Steelers season. I mean, you're expecting to have a bye week middle of the season,
Well,
and you're kind
I
of
mean,
preparing that way. Now you're having a bye week in week 3 and having to play 14 straight.
Well, I was gonna say, even the Ravens, who aren't even involved in this, they had to move their bye week to accommodate the Steelers. Yeah, man, it's gonna be it's a real pain in the ass, and they're gonna have to do something about it.
Yeah,
unacceptable.
It's been not great, and I mean, obviously, it's tougher. I mean, it's impossible to bubble in NFL because obviously the accommodations are one thing, the playing fields is one thing. Then you factor in, I mean, that's 53 guys on the active roster, plus practice squad guys, plus coaching staffs, and all that. I mean, it's just a lot harder to fit, groups of 100 into a place as compared to the NBA when you have 20 guys max.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only way that I can see a bubble working is if you did it out in LA, where you have 4 stadiums that they could feasibly use, and you have to redo the schedule completely. You have to do like 2 games on Thursdays, you'd have to do 2 games on Mondays, and then you'd have to like really spread those games. Like you'd have to use all 4 stadiums at 1. You'd have to use all 4 stadiums at 4, and then you probably have to. I mean, hell, you're dealing with 14 games a week. Maybe, if you want to, you could maybe do 4, 3, and 1. I don't know. But you'd have to revamp that schedule significantly in order to make it work.
And then it's even tough because field maintenance is a big thing in the NFL, right? If you're playing on grass and one team goes out, if there's a game at 1, you can't just throw another game out there at 4 on the same field and not expect injuries to pop up because the grass is going to be all torn up. So
sure,
I don't know what to expect. I mean, we've been saying that since freaking March now. So
yeah,
until we see anything change, there's not really anything we can really even speculate at this point. But
very true. Very true. Well, before we get off here, I've got to rant a little bit more. My blood pressure came down from my Yankees rant earlier. The fucking Leafs. Let me tell you something here, all right? NHL drafts this week. Luke, you Rangers fan, I see you wearing your Mika hoodie.
yeah.
The Rangers had a pretty good week this week. They draft number 1. I think the number 1 pick was a foregone conclusion. Alexis Lafreniere, left winger out of Quebec. That guy is going to be a superstar. Probably, I mean, definitely the best prospect since Matthews. Probably better than Matthews. Some people think he's the best since Crosby. Others say he's the best since McDavid. Doesn't matter. The vast consensus is he's the best guy in this class, and it's not even close. He might be the only guy in this draft class who was NHL ready. Okay?
Yeah.
Which brings me to the fucking Leafs. Okay? The Leafs, they traded away Kasperi Kapanen to get a first-round pick. Okay? Traded him away. A forward. A guy who is a legitimate, low first line, high second line kind of guy. All right? They traded him away to Pittsburgh to get the 15th overall pick, and they draft a forward. What? You need a fucking blue liner. You need a defenseman in the worst way, and you drafted a forward out of Russia. What are we doing? Now, granted, I know it takes 3 to 4 years for defensemen to develop and get them into the... Okay, fine. Why are we drafting forward? This forward ain't going to play this year. Oh my gosh. So, I'm thinking, okay, well, Dubas said that, this is a deep draft. We'll see what we get in the second. Second draft, they have two picks in the second. The first pick they get, they draft another forward.
Gotta get him, man.
What? You have a $40 million line. You have an all-star game line who gave you 0 goals in Game 5 against the Blue Jackets. A winner-take-all game, and they gave you 0 goals in like 22 minutes. Tavares had that shot that goes off the post. Matthews had a couple great ones. Marner can never get it going. Doesn't matter. You have $40 million on the ice and 0 goals to show for it. What the fuck are we doing in Toronto? Holy shit. I blew a gap. Now, they drafted some defenseman with like the 64th pick. Whatever. I'm so pissed off right now. They have, of all the guys they drafted, I don't think there's a single guy over 190 pounds. I think they drafted one guy legitimately over 6 feet tall. Okay? What? Oh my God. I could have an aneurysm right now, dude. The league, what the fuck are we doing? So that leads me to what they should do tomorrow. Tomorrow, free agency starts up. The best player available just happens to check mark all the boxes that the Leafs need. They need someone elite. They need a right-handed defenseman. They need someone with postseason and championship-level experience. They need someone with grit, someone with size, someone who can shut down opposing lines. That player, the captain for the St. Louis Blues, Alex Pietrangelo, you have to get him if you're Toronto. The guy is from Toronto. The prospect of him coming home and winning the first cup in 50 years, that's probably exciting to him. I'm sure he wants to be there. They just don't have the cap to do it because I don't know if you heard me say it. They have $40 million tied up in a line that gave them 0 goals. 0. Zilch. Nada. Okay? If I had a dime for every goal they scored in Game 5, I would have 0 dimes. Okay?
That's a lot.
Absolutely atrocious. They have to get Alex Pietrangelo. I don't care if that means you have to trade Marner, which, I mean, that would be bad because Marner sees the ice better than anybody on that team. You're not trading Austin Matthews because the guy damn near won the Rocket this year. John Tavares, he's the captain of the team. I mean, some people think that, he could be traded, whatever. You could trade Freddie Anderson. You could probably get some backup goalie for cheap and hope he turns out well, like Dobby from Dallas, who damn near won them a cup. You have to get a blue liner. You absolutely have to get a blue liner. If they do not get a blue liner, this free agent, if they don't get Pietrangelo, Dubas should be fired. Fired. Just what kind of Mickey Mouse ticky-tack bullshit are we doing? Dude, absolute bullshit. Okay, just absolute garbage.
Hey, all I got out of that is all of your teams suck at drafting.
Don't fucking remind me. Do not remind me.
Did you see that trade offer that the Knicks are wanting to throw for Victor Oladipo?
Probably involves the 8th overall pick and Mitchell Robinson. Is that exactly what it is?
No, I wish it was that good. If the Pacers even considered this bullshit. All right, Victor Oladipo, and I think it was like Doug McDermott.
Okay. Who would I give up for that?
What would you think would be a decent swap
for Doug McDermott and Victor Oladipo?
Fine, the Knicks have the 8th pick.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe fucking in terms of equal value, maybe getting like Frank Ntilikina and hell, man, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh shit, where'd it go?
Because Oladipo's a better player than both those guys.
Yeah, he is. Julius Randle, Dennis Smith Jr., and 2 first-round picks.
What?
Yeah. But, there's what I don't get. They said they could swap Frank Ntilikina for Dennis Smith. Listen, the Pacers don't need a point guard.
Hold on. Did the Pacers offer that, or did the Knicks?
That's what the Knicks offered. It's not even their first round pick this year though. It's Dallas's first round pick in 2021 and 2023. So the Pacers aren't getting a top 20 pick. But like Julius Randle doesn't fit them at all. Okay? You're not gonna have Julius Randle making $20 million on your bench.
Dude, I don't even know what to say, man.
If the Knicks get that, that's a steal for them. I don't care.
I don't even know what to say. That's crazy.
If it doesn't involve Kevin Knox or the number 8 pick or Mitchell Robinson, I don't want anything to do with what the Knicks are offering. And let me tell you, I don't even want Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
Or R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett should be in the mix. You can't have the number 8 pick and 3 young superstars. Well, not 3 young superstars. 3 young talent prospects, right? And try to trade for a guy who's on the cusp of who would be your best player and not offer a single one of them.
Yeah.
You're going to offer me your third best power forward and a backup point guard who can do nothing on the offensive end except dunk?
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a fair chance that LaMelo Ball falls to number 8 just because I don't think anyone else is going to want to deal with him. And if the Knicks get LaMelo at 8, they're just going to eat that shit up, dude. They're just going to, oh, please, Mr. LeVar, please coach us, sir. James Dolan would go head over heels for LeVar, dude. Man, that's shocking. That is shocking. They'll probably get Obi Toppin, though, you know what I mean? Another power forward for that.
Dude, you gotta be ahead of the league before the league makes that transition to being a 6 big lineup when you have 5 on the floor. I don't know. I think Oladipo's gone. I think Miles Turner's probably gone. I just don't know what the Pacers can even fathomably get in return.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Romeo Langford and Marcus Smart from Boston if we trade Vic, but I mean, I don't think that's even plausible. They're in a bad spot, but fuck, I don't know. Man, NBA season's gonna be weird. Free agency's in like 9 days.
Yeah. So before we, just guys, I'll just say this: next week, if the Yankees get eliminated tonight because the umpiring is shit, and the Leafs do not get Alex Pietrangelo, just expect to see me in a hospital bed next week. That's where I'll be recording from. I'll just have a stroke sometime later on tomorrow night. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be fun. That's all I got for this week. You got anything?
No, I think I'm all booked. I think I went through every single emotion that I had today.
Yeah.
Damn, we went almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Big old rant. Hopefully I don't have to rant next week, but I probably will.
Trust me. I promise you I'm ranting next week.
I do. Next week, this weekend and next week, we got some big college football, so I might have to mention that. I know this week we got Miami and Clemson playing in a top 10 game.
Yeah.
And next week, I think it's Georgia and Bama playing. They're 2-3 right now, so some big college football things ahead. Big Ten gets back here in about 3 weeks, so I think it's 2 weeks after this one. So
a lot of fun stuff coming up here, guys.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you guys don't hate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one because I sure as shit didn't. Yeah, we'll be back next week, probably around the same time. Other than that, I got nothing else for you guys. So
that's all I got as well, man. So we'll see you guys next week. Go Leafs and go Yanks. Let's go.
All right, go everybody else. All right, peace out, guys.
Take it easy.